On this Thursday night, Russian meddling, past and present, gets a full airing at a very unusual White House press briefing. Top national security officials rip into Vladimir Putin's ongoing efforts to destabilize their politics and country, but how much of their message was aimed at their own boss, the U.S. president?
Also tonight, explaining a rare case, why criminal charges were laid against two Ontario paramedics. They were on the job and on the scene of a gunshot victim who later died. So where is the line between a mistake and a crime? This is The National.
A stark warning rang out from Washington today that the American way of life is under attack by Russia. And it was not the president sounding the alarm, but rather a startling array of his own security advisors. Keith Bogue shows us what they said and what they may have been hinting at.
All right, this doesn't happen very often. A public briefing by 5 heavyweights of American national security. The president's national security advisor and the director of national intelligence, plus the heads of the FBI, Homeland Security, and the National Security Agency.
Our focus here today is simply to tell the American people we acknowledge the threat. It is real, it is continuing, and we're doing everything we can to have a legitimate election that the American people can have trust in.
He's talking about Russia. It not only interfered in the last election, it's trying to interfere in the November midterms and the 2020 presidential election too, they said, displaying a sharply different attitude toward Russia from the one President Trump showed when he met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki just a couple of weeks ago, and was asked whether it was Putin who was behind the election interference.
I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
That set off alarms back home. The next day, Trump tried to clean it up, implying he just had a little slip of the tongue and hadn't noticed for pretty much a whole day that he'd said the opposite of what he claimed he'd intended.
The sentence should have been, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be Russia. Sort of a double negative.
Many found that explanation difficult to believe, and in the days since, the president has gone back to characterizing the investigation into Russian election meddling as a rigged witch hunt, a stain on the country, and a disgrace. Here's what the security agencies want the people to know Russia is doing.
Targeting U.S. officials and other U.S. persons through traditional intelligence tradecraft, criminal efforts to suppress voting and provide illegal campaign financing.
All of those things are, of course, known to the president, Andrew. Yet he's invited Putin to Washington early next year, in part so he can continue talks with him about working together on, of all things, cybersecurity.
Right, which is interesting. But Keith, it seemed like there was a broader undertone to what those security heads were saying today, beyond just interfering with an election.
Right. They said the Russians want to undermine American democratic values, provoke divisiveness among the people, and drive a wedge between America and its allies.
And that seems notable because these are things that at various times Trump's critics have accused him of.
Exactly, they are. The president has talked about elections being rigged, the FBI and the Justice Department being part of a corrupt deep state, the media being the enemy of the people, and he's encouraged the breakup of the European Union. A couple of times during the briefing, it seemed as though the intelligence community was warning the president that saying those things only helps Putin's aim of destabilizing America and its allies.
Keith Bogue in Washington, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Still ahead on The National, a little-known exception at the border, but how many migrants are using it?
Plus, Canada's retaliatory tariffs and their unintended victims. Collectible card game players certainly weren't expecting to get punished.
And 2 Ontario paramedics are facing a rare charge. Failing to provide the necessaries of life. It stems from the 2017 death of this man, Yosef Al-Hasnawi. He intervened when he saw someone being accosted on a Hamilton street. The Good Samaritan was shot in the stomach by 2 men. Police and paramedics arrived, and what happened next shocked witnesses. They said first responders didn't take the 19-year-old's injuries seriously, and as Ron Charles reports, an hour later, Al-Hasnawi was dead.
Patrick Ryerson remembers trying to convince first responders last December that Yusuf al-Hasnawi had been shot with a real bullet, not a pellet.
I said, well, it was no pellet gun. I could tell by the sound. I said, I was in the armed forces. I know what it sounds like. And they just ignored me. And he come over and he started yelling at the kid, you know, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, get up.
He says paramedics reacted the same way. Al-Hasnawi's bullet wound was small and didn't bleed very much.
And when the paramedics got here, they all treated it like it was a pellet gun wound.
According to police, after 38 minutes on the street, paramedics put al-Hasnawi into the ambulance. But instead of taking him to the region's trauma center, they took him to a hospital further away. Hamilton police asked the Niagara Police Service to do an independent investigation into what happened that night. 8 months later, the results. Charges against the two paramedics of failing to provide the necessaries of life. It's a rare charge, sometimes laid against parents and caregivers. This lawyer says he's never heard of first responders facing the charge.
This is a unique set of circumstances for this charge. It's a rare charge to begin with. It does come up, but it's not the most common charge we see. And then to see it in these circumstances certainly makes it very unusual.
Whatever the reasons for the charge, this friend of al-Hasnawi's family says they are pleased.
But we feel there's some kind of justice. At least we're happy that there's some charges that are laid here.
But the union that represents the two paramedics released a statement today saying it will support them and is confident they will be vindicated. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, let's get some analysis on this issue. Eric Guattardi is a veteran criminal defense lawyer, and he joins us from his home just outside Vancouver. Let's start with going through what the Crown is going to have to prove in this case, in these charges of failing to provide the necessaries of life.
Sure. So to establish this charge, the Crown's going to have to establish that the paramedics here had a standard of care, a duty to take care of the patient. That part should be easy. The tough part for the Crown will be they're going to have to establish that the paramedics made mistakes and failed in their duty to take care of the patient, and that failure was so serious that it caused the harm or the death in this particular case. And to do that, they're going to have to show that the paramedics departed in a marked way from the normal standard of care that we expect of paramedics. And that's a fairly high standard the Crown's going to have to meet.
So we've heard some of the criticisms here that people need to have latitude to make mistakes. That do you think it's appropriate for criminal charges to have been laid?
Well, it's hard to know without all the facts, but you know, you look at the number of people that were interviewed, the breadth and scope of the investigation here. It's a rare case where the criminal law is going to be brought to bear on service providers like paramedics, and that's why the standard is high for the Crown to meet. But in certain circumstances, where the mistakes are so serious and perhaps so obvious in the context to other professionals in that profession, we need the law to intervene to sanction those individuals so that the public can be confident in the standard of care that's being put forward by this agency going forward. And so sometimes where it's really serious and there's a death, the criminal law does have to intervene.
Eric Guattardi, always nice speaking with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Ian.
Let's turn now to the Canada-U.S. border and the waves of asylum seekers who continue to cross into this country from the United States. The numbers may be down from a few months ago, but that hasn't stopped the issue growing as a political one, especially with the federal election just over a year away. Now, CBC News has learned that Canadian border officials are describing a new trend among some asylum seekers who enter Canada to serve as so-called anchor relatives for others to follow. Karen Pauls explains how it works, how real it is, and how politicians are responding.
Asylum seekers have flooded over the border on foot ever since Donald Trump's controversial travel bans. Now, a report by the Canadian Border Services Agency, obtained by CBC News, describes a new trend. People who entered Canada through irregular routes are using a little-known exception in the Safe Third Country Agreement to help family members get into Canada at regular ports of entry. They can do that as long as they're over 18 years old and have filed a claim for refugee protection. In a tweet last night, conservative immigration critic Michelle Rempel called it a loophole in a loophole.
There's some organization now in terms of describing the way to get to Canada through the loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement.
But even though the report uses the term phenomena, the CBSA gives no details on the number of cases they're seeing. RCMP figures on asylum seekers crossing the border on foot show there's been an 8-fold increase, from just under 2,500 in 2016 to more than 20,000 last year. A spokesperson for Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale says regular asylum claims at official border crossings are going down, but he couldn't provide any numbers on how many of those claims were based on anchor relatives who had crossed the border irregularly.
How did you get this one?
Meanwhile, some lawyers say they're not seeing this trend at all.
We have clients who have come from the United States and they have an anchor relative, but they didn't realize that having that anchor relative means that they could have gone directly to the port of entry. So we do have
Clark says the rules still apply, whether people entered as a result of an anchor relative or not.
They will be vetted to see if they are genuine refugees.
All of this is happening at a time when the issue is becoming more and more politicized, especially for people who believe asylum seekers are entering the country illegally or jumping the queue. It's bound to be a hot topic in the year heading into the next federal election. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And it's not just the federal government that is wrestling with all of this. Provincial officials in Quebec and Ontario say they just can't keep up with the sheer number of asylum seekers. Back in April, Ottawa agreed to create a so-called triage system to redirect irregular border crossers away from Montreal after the city complained that its shelters were overwhelmed. Well, now Toronto says it's running out of room and wants help too, but both will have to wait. Immigration and Citizenship Canada says it won't have a plan in place until the end of September.
Well, let's turn to the trade story, where you may be starting to see a spike in some prices. Thank Canada's ongoing dispute with the U.S. for that. Most of the increases you may have seen coming because they've made headline news, but others are catching Canadians off guard. And as David Cochran shows us, in some pretty surprising places.
The combatants here at the Wizard's Tower have vanquished many foes over the years, but a new threat is emerging to the south that no spell can contain.
Yes, I'm a great financial wizard.
That's right, this gaming and hobby shop is on the front line of the Canada-US trade war. The casualty? These Magic the Gathering cards, a hot item among gamers.
This is about 90% of our business. This is our bread and butter. This is the most popular product we sell.
Dave Tellier and his 15 employees are collateral damage in Donald Trump's trade war. After Trump slapped tariffs on steel and aluminum, Trudeau slapped back with tariffs on a range of items that included playing cards. The target was normal playing cards made in Trump-supporting states like Kentucky and Ohio. But under import rules, all playing cards are the same. So the Magic cards made in the Democrat-voting, marijuana-legalizing Washington state got hit too.
So like, for example, a deck like this used to be $13 last week and it's $14.99 this week.
It's a similar story on a larger scale at Tremcar, which makes giant aluminum trailers that cost about $80,000 a pop. The counter tariffs are hammering their bottom line.
On our industry, it's a big effect. We're talking about $2,000 per trailer.
The aluminum is refined in Quebec, but it's turned into aluminum sheets in the U.S. and then shipped back across the border to be turned into tanks, which means this Canadian company is being hit by Canadian tariffs meant to punish Americans.
We could increase the price, but there is a limit too, because we cannot sell our trailer more than our competitor.
It's not just big aluminum tanks, it's small aluminum cans. Ottawa beer makers are warning the tariffs are reducing their supply of cans. Canned foods are going to cost more, not because of what's in the can, but because of the can itself. And so is a can of pop, meaning these gamers will pay more for their fuel as well as their fun.
So should the government of Canada stand up to Donald Trump, even if it's going to cost you money?
He's a bully. We need to stand up. Otherwise, if we give in to concessions, he'll just ask more.
It's a game of Dungeons and Donald, but in this case, the stakes are no fantasy. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
And we could be seeing an escalation on another one of Donald Trump's trade fronts, because Beijing isn't blinking after a threat from Washington to raise tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. The U.S. says it wants China to, quote, modify its behavior when it comes to trade deals. Beijing calls that blackmail and says the U.S. will only hurt itself if it uses high-pressure tactics. Okay, let's turn now to another story we will be watching pretty closely tonight, and it's an unsettling one in Alberta. It involves a tourist being shot in the head in what may have been a road rage attack. It happened just before noon on a highway northwest of Calgary near Morley. And the man who was shot, according to police, was a 60-year-old German tourist in a car with his wife and 2 kids at the time. He's alive, but in hospital in critical condition. Carolyn Dunn is in Calgary tonight with more. Carolyn, tell us what happened.
Well, police were actually responding to what they thought was a motor vehicle accident, but they soon discovered that the driver, this German tourist, had been shot in the head with a small caliber gun. He was actually talking as they airlifted him to hospital, but his injury is very serious, and he's got a long road of recovery ahead, including surgery to remove that bullet. As you say, the lead theory is road rage, but here's more of what police are looking into.
There was a small black car that was being driven by a white male in and around the Dodge Durango at the time that the gunshot would have occurred. It's a 2-lane undivided highway, and so there might not be many opportunities to pass. Simply speculating that there was maybe some issues with traffic congestion.
Now the RCMP are looking to track down that suspect, and they're hoping for the public's help to do that, and they're also looking to try to piece together what led to the shooting.
Okay, thanks very much, Carolyn.
Emerson Dambudzo of ZANU-PF party is therefore duly declared elected president.
There you go. The results in Zimbabwe are finally in, and Emerson Mnangagwa has been declared the winner of that country's presidential election. He's the ZANU-PF leader who came to power after Robert Mugabe was ousted in last year's military coup. According to the country's election commission, Mnangagwa captured just over 50% of the votes, but his main opponent is disputing the result, saying his party has evidence the election was rigged.
Here's what else we're working on tonight on The National. This longtime Canadian host hints he's leaving his famous quiz show. Who is Alex Trebek? We quiz our pop culture panel about possible replacements.
Plus, a provocative question from former Sears Canada workers. Why are board members still on the payroll while ex-employees worry about their severance?
And a push to give Canadians online access to their medical files.
It empowers you as a patient, and it helps you take control. And it helps you work through I think when you're in control of your own health, it helps you feel better.
You own the information in your medical records, but is it always easy to access? No. That's because the record itself, the actual file, it belongs to a doctor or a hospital. You have to go through them to see your own details, unless our records were simply available online. And turns out for some Canadians, they are, but not for everybody. Christine Burak shows us why.
Tells you where it is, it gives you a phone number.
Yvonne Wright can see her mother's up-to-the-minute medical records anytime, any place.
The appointments and the
tests and reports. Anything and everything that you do, even the drop-in with the doctor.
She's looking at an online patient portal. It was set up by the University Health Network in Toronto, which is coordinating her mother's cancer care. Appointments aside, the portal allows patients and authorized users to access their medical history, including blood tests, x-rays, scans, and medications. Wright says the family feels engaged.
We could watch her blood pressure go up and down. Is there an issue? So we were able to ask the doctor, this is happening or this is happening, what does this mean?
Harm is being done because patients don't have access to the records.
Dr. Iris Gorfinkel is pushing transparency for all. In a recent commentary published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, she insisted Canadians should have easy access to their medical records.
It could be life-saving in the emergency room. And unfortunately, most patients, they have no idea what medications they're on or what those medications are for.
Right now, a patchwork of patient portals have been created by individual doctors and some hospitals. Nova Scotia and Alberta have been working on integrated portals that could be shared by all potential healthcare providers, but no province has figured it out just yet. Patient privacy is the major issue, but there are others.
Some of the language sometimes is, this overweight, divorce, middle age, and none of that is particularly untrue. But there's a dehumanizing element about it as well.
This bioethicist says when patients start reading their medical records, they could be in for an eyeful of unfamiliar terminology.
When in fact patients have access to their very charts, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very confusing.
Something Wright experienced firsthand. The results from one of her mother's scans appeared to say she had no cancer. The family celebrated and later found out NO stood for the word number. Wright also dreads receiving bad news.
I think the language on the reports need to be addressed because it can scare people. I think it's great because it empowers you as a patient and it helps you take control.
While complicated, Wright hopes every Canadian, including herself, will have online access to their own medical records sooner rather than later. Christine Birak, CBC News, Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Okay, so how soon is soon? We'll take Alberta again. Some parts are expected to get connected in late 2019, but even that is by no means a sure bet. The province has spent about a decade and millions of dollars trying to set its system up. It was supposed to be fully online last year, but the launch was delayed because it didn't work correctly on smartphones. So stay tuned.
Still ahead on The National, the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy pledges support for director James Gunn after a series of offensive tweets got him fired. Our pop culture panel digs into the so-called cancel culture.
Plus, former Sears Canada employees want the company's board of directors removed, and they're taking their fight to court.
What are they actually doing? Where is the monitor in this whole situation? And are the right people being protected in the go forward? It's shocking.
He says, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. Only he didn't use frickin'.
That wise guy Witt helped make Guardians of the Galaxy a big money franchise with a sharp commercial appeal. The first two movies earned a cool $1.6 billion US, and much of the credit goes to writer-director James Gunn. It was his idea to exploit a 70s playlist. And Gunn's humorous touch broadened the genre's appeal.
Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
But Disney Studios stopped laughing when Gunn's old tweets resurfaced on the net, poking fun at rape and pedophilia. He was fired from the planned sequel. But then the cast released a letter calling for his reinstatement, noting that personal redemption is a theme of the franchise. Disney, though, shows no sign of budging. All right, let's talk about this. We're joined by Sarah Bosveld, senior writer at Chatelaine Magazine, Donovan Bennett, a digital host and writer at Sportsnet, and Ashani Nath is acting senior editor at Flair Magazine. Welcome to all of you.
Thanks for having us.
Did Disney do the right thing?
I think so. And although I have empathy for Mr. Gunn, I don't really have that much sympathy. These are things that happened a while ago, but he was still in his 40s when he did it. I mean, you're going to be director of Guardians of the Galaxy. You can't guard your own Twitter timeline. This is my thing. I applaud the loyalty by the cast, but Disney's loyalty as a publicly traded company is to their shareholders and their potential customers. And given that, I don't think they had much of a choice.
So one way to look at this story is he joked about pedophilia, he joked about rape. Those things obviously aren't joking matters. But do you think he should have been essentially fired?
Well, I think this whole problem here is that cancel culture, like the idea of just
like swiping someone aside, banishing them for something that maybe has been exhumed from their past, that is not necessarily something where they're hurting someone. And I'm not going to excuse these jokes. Pedophilia and rape are not funny, as you pointed out. But to just judge them by something that has been raised from a long time ago in the modern context, when he has apologized, I think is quite a rash move. And the reason I bring up cancel culture is because I think that's what Disney is responding to. Disney is sort of saying here, you know, look, there is no trial, you know, there's no investigation, you know, and actually there are a lot of men who maybe have some quite legitimate claims against them in the Me Too movement, where a lot of companies have been like, oh, maybe let's just keep him around because he's worth a lot of money. So I do think it's an interesting move, as Donovan pointed out, but to me, it speaks to a much more problematic, you know, theme that's come up in our culture, and Disney's responding to that because I guess maybe they interpret that shareholders are worried, you know, and they don't want, you know, things that could be seen as problematic optically to be, you know, out there.
It is incredible, though, how these things become just this tsunami, right?
Yeah.
So somebody brings attention to something, there's this huge wave of usually social media, and then some kind of action by a company. Do you think it unfolded the way it should have?
I mean, whether it unfolded the way it should have, I'm not sure. But I do think that Disney can't go back now. They've made this decision, and they have to stick by it, whether the cast is on board or not. I think that we're in this moment where people are being held accountable for what they said, and that is powerful. So I don't think we're at that stage where we're getting that nuance. I think we're still in the growing pains of that, but I think it's an important time right now, and this is what if this is what has to happen, this is what has to happen. And I think it's important that we do say things like rape and pedophilia are not funny, and we need to push for better comedy and smarter comedy.
So there's accountability, and then I wonder if you get to a line of intolerance, and what about a word that the cast used, redemption? Should there be some room here? And does it matter to the three of you that the cast has weighed in here? You feel it doesn't?
To me, actually, I think Disney needed to be stuck in because the cast weighed in, because it sets a precedent if they were to capitulate to that cast that, well, our decisions don't matter, your feelings matter.
And maybe it's not capitulate. Maybe it's listening. Maybe it's saying, okay, you know what? I respect what you guys have to say.
But it opens up the Pandora's box then, right? Yeah. Because if you're going to listen on this, are you going to listen on Roseanne Barr? Are you going to listen on Kevin Spacey? Where do you draw that line? And that's why I think they're saying our brand, Disney, is a family brand. What you did was not a family expression, and so we need to protect our brand.
Donovan, but like, so here, it's not the same as the Roseanne thing. So Roseanne, in real time, in 2017, I think it was last year, early this year, you know, made some racist comments in real time, in this moment that we're in. This is stuff from James Gunn that was exhumed from a decade ago, and he has apologized, and he hasn't taken them down, which I think is kind of an issue here.
Questionable.
And, you know, and I do think, I do think that's a problem too, but they're different things.
But here's why they're the same, though. If people don't watch because of them, they're the same. So the nuance is, James Gunn, you're not working on this project, you may work again. Roseanne Barr's probably not going to work again. That's where the nuance is. But they're the same because the public and their income is saying that they're the same.
Quick last word on this topic to Shani.
I mean, I think that this is an important conversation, and I think it brings up what is the next stage of where do we want this conversation to go. Cancel culture is happening, but there needs to be nuance, and I think that's the main takeaway here.
All right. Well, a main takeaway of television is about segues, and now let's do a segue from superheroes to super chicken sandwiches.
We get great feedback from our customers in the United States, not only about great tasting food, but also the service and the environment. And so we want to bring that same Chick-fil-A experience into Toronto and into Canada because we believe that's what customers will value.
So that is part of a promotional video, the president of Chick-fil-A talking about expansion plans into Canada. What makes this complicated, more than just a fast food story, is the company's political views, a conservative Christian mission. They're very clear about that, publicly opposing, for example, same-sex marriage. So some Canadians are calling for a boycott of this, or saying to people, you know, you need to step up and take some action here. But it opens the door to this question. When is a chicken sandwich just a chicken sandwich? Do you think that Canadians should think twice before they go here, depending on their political views?
I'm going to speak for myself in this case.
Sure.
I think you are what you eat. There are so many places to get a chicken sandwich. I have heard very good things about Chick-fil-A's food. I have heard terrible things that I cannot stand by. in terms of where they're giving their money. So I don't think a sandwich can be just a sandwich. I think you are what you eat.
I think
that's a very interesting look.
We're getting very philosophical here, I think. But you know, I think that the power of someone's dollar is always, like, in this capitalist society, one of the biggest powers that they have. And I think consumers really should go by their moral and ethical compass on that. But I'm thinking most people will not. You know, I really think that this conversation, you know, people get excited about their American food chains. They get excited about tasty chicken sandwiches. And I just think people are not tuned into this, and they will not necessarily care. But there really has been interesting momentum behind the boycott Chick-fil-A movement. And I think, you know, I wonder if that will give anyone pause before they walk in the door, you know?
We were looking up some numbers. It is the 8th biggest fast food chain in the United States based on sales. And Quick Service Restaurants magazine, I guess, predicts that it's going to be in 3rd, only behind McDonald's and Starbucks. So people love it. What if you were with a bunch of friends in Toronto in a couple of years when they open up here, and they said they wanted to go, some of your friends said they wanted to go to get the chicken, other friends said, I refuse to go based on my political views. How would you respond to that?
Oh, I mean, how hungry am I in this scenario?
And you're starving.
Yeah, I mean, I do perpetuate the stereotype. I love me some chicken, but I will say that I mean, I probably wouldn't be comfortable eating there, and it has nothing to do with their religious beliefs. I mean, if you make a great sandwich and you're a Scientologist, I will eat it. but how crass their comments have been. It's not that they're just a political organization. They've been open about telling other people how they should live their lives and saying, I'm going to take money from people and I'm going to apply it in a way that is not going to benefit all people. From that standpoint, whether it's a Chick-fil-A or what we've seen, a company like Starbucks, who's had great goodwill because they've given their employees, you know, full benefits, and bad goodwill because they've had people who look like me not allowed to just sit in the restaurants. I think it works both ways. And you mentioned it. We have agency, right? I learned in school taxation without representation. The only agency we have is the decisions we make every day. So that's not a decision I'd be comfortable making.
All right. So let's change gears here for our final topic. And let's talk about a guy who started at the CBC and is now a broadcast legend. And I'm sure you're answering the question who we're talking about here. Alex Trebek, who hinted he might be leaving the show when his contract is up.
What are the odds that you will stay after 2020 right now?
50-50 and a little less.
All right, in a tribute to Alex Trebek, who's still hosting Jeopardy, by the way, we are going to ask a Jeopardy-style question, and let's put it up on the board here. The category is famous Canadian game show host, and the answer is this Canadian city has the most freshwater lakes of any municipality in the country. It's also home to the 4th largest Francophone community outside Quebec and the birthplace of Jeopardy host Alex Trebek. Okay, yes.
Oh, wait. What is Sudbury, Ontario?
Very good.
Where is? That's my grammar.
What is, yeah.
Yes. So is that Daily Double? Like, do I win a jackpot? Or
So for the few of you who don't know what's going on here in Jeopardy, you answer questions by doing it in the style of a question. So many of us, have you watched Jeopardy?
I have.
Yeah, like it spans generations, right? We've all watched it. We have just less than a minute, so really quick answer. Does it matter to you who the next host of Jeopardy is?
Yeah, because I don't think it will be successful without Trebek. He's part of the institution, so they're going to have to get it right.
Okay, last word on what's going to happen to Jeopardy?
Absolutely, it matters, but I think there's a chance to revive it for a new generation that potentially doesn't have cable and is interested in new, fresh faces and voices.
Wait a second, a generation that doesn't have cable? This is very scary to me. And your view on Trebek or what's going to happen next to Jeopardy?
Well, he has some really interesting ideas for the next host. He thinks the LA Kings announcer, play-by-play guy, would be a good decision, which is funny to me. But I also am skeptical he's actually going to retire, too, because in 2014, he was asked the same question. He was like, will you retire in 2016? And he's like, 50-50 chance. He basically said the same thing. So I'm just going to put on like my skeptics hat here. Maybe he'll be the new host of HQ, which is that sort of digital, real-time game show. Like maybe they can bring it into the digital age that way. So, you know, they should evolve, as Shawnee said.
Okay, a fun note to end on. Thanks to all three of you.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure.
Still lots more to come on The National, but first a preview of the CBC short doc airing here tomorrow night. We'll take you to a special summer camp run by Black Lives Matter Toronto that's teaching Black children to envision a positive future.
So you want it to be in where?
Zimbabwe.
Okay, so Zimbabwe. Years in the future, start with that. Years in the future. A young black boy, which is you. Z. I.
You guys can describe maybe what Zimbabwe looks like in the future.
Okay. En route, Zimbabwe of prisons, which made the land absolutely stunning.
A young black boy will rise from the ashes and take down the system.
That's how I was gonna do.
Just like that.
Yep. With a flash of light. No, a flash of darkness.
Do you want to win, or you want to score lots of points?
Win.
So why the hell are you here? This is a bloody great CV. You're a highly qualified doctor.
I was looking for a new challenge professionally.
They don't know who they're messing with. They don't have a clue who they're messing with. They want to mess with us.
Oh, they're not messing with us. I'm the wrong man.
Today at the Scarecrow Festival, and I got a bad feeling. Mark my words, something bad is going to happen to me today.
Johnny's back.
Foo-foo.
Yeah, foo-foo.
I was like, who's foo-foo?
Lots of laughs. My cheeks are sore.
Loyal fans.
He was off the floral Richterite scale.
Can't get enough.
I do not look like that.
Johnny Sudaja.
Good job, Johnny.
More like Benny Hula. Crazy.
Okay, still crazy. Still standing.
Awesome.
I don't know how he does that.
Thanks so much.
Still standing. Returns September 18th on CBC. Part of the Tuesday night comedy lineup.
Tonight on The National, pretty rowdy reception for the U.S. president at a rally in Pennsylvania. He decided to speak to reporters just hours after some of his top national security advisors issued a warning that Russia is a threat and that it's still trying to interfere in U.S. elections. But tonight, Donald Trump had some other things on his mind.
There has never been, and even these people back here, these horrible, horrendous people, they can make anything bad because they are the fake, disgusting news.
And it went on, Trump going back to what's become a popular line of attack of his, slagging the media. In tonight's speech, he also defended his recent meeting with Vladimir Putin and spoke about his plan to build that wall. There are reports tonight of a major security breach at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. According to The Guardian and CNN, a woman believed to be a Russian spy was employed at the embassy for more than a decade. She was fired last year after officials discovered she'd been meeting regularly with Russian intelligence. As part of her job, the woman reportedly had access to the embassy's emails and private network. Pope Francis has changed the Catholic Church's position on the death penalty. Under Pope John Paul II, it was considered okay in some rare cases, but the Church's teachings will now say it is always unacceptable. The death penalty is something Francis has often spoken out against. And in Europe, an ongoing heat wave has become so intense, forecasters say the continent's all-time temperature record could soon be broken. Right now, heat warnings are in place in multiple countries, but it's Portugal and Spain where it may be the hottest this weekend. Temperatures soaring past 48 degrees Celsius. Well, after more than 6 decades in business, the final chapter of Sears Canada is being written in an Ontario courtroom. The one-time retail giant is still tangled up in the bankruptcy process. Once such a crucial part of Canada's retail landscape, the Toronto-based retailer collapsed under creditor protection in June of 2017. They tried to restructure, reinvent themselves, but that failed. So early this year, Sears liquidated, clearing the shelves at the end of a 65-year run. 255 stores were closed, and virtually all 16,000 employees were let go. And those former employees are wondering if they'll get the money they're owed, while at the same time learning that the company is still paying its board of directors hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our business reporter Jacqueline Hansen has been digging into what the bankruptcy court documents can tell us.
When former Sears employee Tiffany Braun read that board members are still being paid, she was shocked.
A lot of us had made assumptions that the board would have been dissolved a long time ago.
CBC News found in court documents that Sears' 4 board members have received more than $600,000 so far this year and cost the company another $600,000 in professional fees.
Board members are already wealthy people, so to continue to benefit from that while other people are significantly impacted, I think there needs to be some self-reflection on that.
Starting this month, Sears retirees' pension payments were cut, and many former employees are still waiting to find out if they'll get any money to make up for lost severance. The law firm representing employees wants workers to get as much money as possible, so it's asking the court to remove the board. But in an affidavit, the chair defended the board's role, saying since Sears filed for bankruptcy protection, the board has been heavily involved in the process. He said its pay has already been reduced twice, and the board is prepared to cut it further to $5,000 per month.
It's like the captain going down with the ship.
This commercial lawyer says paying board members while a company is in bankruptcy protection is often necessary.
Behind the scenes, they're still functioning to sell their real estate assets and to deal with the winding down of operations. The company still exists throughout the process.
While the fight brewing is over the money, Braun believes who is on the board is also a problem.
For it to be the same board members who were there through the last many years of the company's demise, are they the right people?
Lawyers for the employees will argue for the board's removal in court later this month. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
Retirees are also asking the courts to give them whatever money Sears has left to fund their pensions. Court documents show Sears has about $135 million remaining in its estate, which is bad news because retirees alone say they are owed $730 million to fund a shortfall in their benefits and pension plans. And Sears also faces $36 billion in claims from other creditors. The showdown on who gets what will ultimately be decided by Ontario Superior Court as early as this fall.
On to a corporation with a much different story. Apple crossed a historic barrier today, becoming the first U.S. company ever to be worth $1 trillion, all thanks to strong sales of its iPhones and surging revenue from the App Store. The milestone reinforces Apple's massive power in the tech world, but what are some other ways to measure it? Well, Apple's stock market value is greater than ExxonMobil, the world's largest oil and gas company, consumer product giant Procter & Gamble, and telecom and media conglomerate AT&T combined. It's triple the size of arch rival Samsung, or let's look at it another way. $1 trillion is larger than most countries' gross domestic products, or the value of everything they produce each year. In fact, if Apple's valuation was an economy, it would be the world's 17th largest, after Indonesia, worth more than half of Canada's $1.7 trillion GDP. A reminder about the National Today, which takes you deeper inside our journalism every afternoon. More on the top stories and highlights of ones you may have missed. Today, as Paul Manafort's fraud trial continued in Virginia, there was evidence of an extravagant lifestyle, including this. Manafort purchased a $15,000 jacket made from ostrich skin. Subscribe to our newsletter at cbcnews.ca/thenational.
Do you want to win or you want to score lots of points?
Win.
So why the hell
hell are you here? This is a bloody great CV. You're a highly qualified doctor.
I was looking for a new challenge professionally.
They don't know who they're messing with. They don't have a clue who they're messing with. They want to mess with us.
Oh, they're not messing with us. I'm the wrong man.
Today at the Scarecrow Festival and I got bad feeling. Mark my words, something bad is going to happen to me today.
Super cool. It's friggin' super cool.
It's okay to date the crazy guys?
I'm sorry I spent all your money on drugs and synthesizers.
The Great Canadian Baking Show returns Wednesday, September 19th on CBC.
It has already brought a lot of joy to the city, but Halifax's famous agave plant had one more surprise for residents and tourists. Agave Maria, as it's been affectionately dubbed, is finally starting to bloom. The development is bittersweet. The little yellow flowers mean the plant is beginning to die, and that is drawing people to the public gardens. It's also our moment of the day.
We came to see this very exotic plant.
Well, it's a plant that's blooming once before it dies. I mean, when do we ever have those plants in the Maritimes, right? I think it's pretty cool just to see it.
It is absolutely amazing. It's neat to see in person. I've been following it online, but seeing it up close in person it's pretty amazing.
Well, I think it's really exotic, and I've never really seen anything like it before.
I actually talked to my parents in Ontario. They're following it too, so I told them I was coming here today, and they're waiting for pictures.
It's something that we typically wouldn't be able to grow here in the climate that we have in Nova Scotia. The public gardens is a spot that's peaceful. They can come and escape the city, and it's just something that's captured people's interest. It's just something that's beautiful and amazing and temporary.
See, Andrew, I understand this notion that it's beautiful and temporary and amazing because in late May, I took my parents from New Brunswick to Halifax to the public gardens because we heard it was about to bloom then. I'll show you some pictures I took on my phone of the agave plant. See, no bloom. Let's take a closer shot of the top at that point. So a botanist, Andrew, said that she thought the plant was dead. So I was disappointed then, and I guess I won't get to see it in person.
Wow. You went all the way there? No, but you went all the way there from BC just to see the agave plant?
No, don't be so incredulous. No, not just for that.
Okay. But you know what they should have done? They should have created a time lapse of the thing so that everyone wouldn't be so sad and they'd be able to witness. I guess you just have to take 25 years worth of footage and condense it down somehow. But that would be something. That's my idea of the day. And that's the National for this August 2nd. Have a good night.
Good night.